What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout, and I am here with how to play Mill Zamasu. Oh, not Zamasu, this isn't Fusion World Trailers, this is Zamasu. So, Mill and Hand Destruction combined. This is my favorite deck ever made. Like, I thought the Gogeta is gonna be my favorite deck, and then I started playtesting this deck. It's my favorite deck ever made. Like, this is made for me. I'm so happy. So anyway, guys, before we begin, huge shout out to the Coffee Club, our loyal patrons. These are our $2 and up patrons that buy us coffee. They keep this crazy content grind going. And guys, thanks out for your support. If you wish to join the Coffee Club, link to a patron is in the description below. And I think that's about everything. Roll the video. As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So I'm gonna give you a brief archetype breakdown. I'll show you some lines of play and interactions. Then I'll show you my deck list. We'll go over the first 2 turns with it, and then we'll just wrap it up with a summary. Let's go. Let's start with the leader on the front side. He's Zamasu and he's just decent. He doesn't do much. I would say I would call him very bad if the tutor couldn't get the super combo. So that's the one thing that's a redeeming factor on this front side. When he attacks, he tutors top 5 for a green god, which can be Hellas, which is a super combo. You'll always awaken on turn 2, you just draw 1, restand 1, and then you go down to 6 lives. On the awakened side, it's time to mill some fools. So, Zamasu, Insanity from Justice. Man, the guy is very devoted. His permanent basically allows you to Union Fusion with the Goku Black cards from your Warp. That's great. So other than that, you have Auto. The backbone of the deck is the Auto. When you play one of your Zamasu with an Evolve or Union skills, you place the top card of your opponent's deck into their drop. So whenever you play Zamasu with Evolve or Union, your opponent mills 1. That's how you mill them. And then we have on attack, you draw 1 and you become a 20k attacker. It's not limit 1, it's only for the battle. That's really good because there is a Zamasu which can help you restand your leader. So you can basically draw 2 and swing 20k twice. The leader is very good. Now we move to Z Unison, and the Z Unison is just very decent. Like, he's decent. He's super small, so he's gonna die like lightning fast. Auto, once per turn when you mill, you get a marker on him. The +0 is a setup for Union Potara. This is the best thing that the Unison does. -3 might come up here and there, where like you switch one of your Zamasus to active and it gains blocker, but it's likely never happening. The Unison will die more often than not. The only thing that makes it like very decent is he's so small that he's not really a threatening target at all. Him existing allows you to use Dormant for free, to use Charismatic, and the +0 sets up the Union, so that's okay. Other than that, like, the card is just, yeah. Now let's talk about milling. So here's how it works. The majority of your cards, of your few Zamasus, will have mill effect on play. Some Zamasus and some Goku Blacks have mill effect on play as well, while the other ones have mill as activate main. You switch them to rest and then you mill. So all of them mill. Every single card mills. And then when you play the Zamasus which mill, your leader's auto triggers, so your leader mills as well. For example, this card says when you play him, you KO 1 card and opponent mills 2. However, because he's played with EX Evolve, your leader's ability triggers, and now your opponent mills an additional card, which means that this Zamasu is basically 1 energy, 20k double, draw a card, opponent mills 3. So yeah, it's cool, it's very cool. Let's check out our engines. So the first 2 dudes mill and activate main. You can play them with the Unison. You generally can start with Zamasu in play just to draw 1, and Goku Black you combo from hand, Z charge, then play the Unison, send him to the drop, and then fuse. The other ones, they don't come up as often, but they mill on play and they gain extra effects. Zamasu gains +5k and crit, Goku gains +5k and double. So as far as Goku and Zamasu cards go, all of them are pretty decent. Now let's take a look at our Zamasus. So first of all of them mill when you play them. Some mill 1, the big guy mills 2. So the first one, KO a card and remove a marker. This is, I believe, the worst one. But hey, it's pay 1 mil. They also draw when you play them. The other 5 cost is cool. You draw when you attack and you charge a Z energy. You get rid of, let's say, Goku Black from under him so that you can fuse again. That's pretty neat. I like this one. The 8 cost KOs a card, restands as a Zamasu and mills free. The 8 cost is insane. And then the 5 cost, you have 2 ways of playing it. You generally KOs a card and gets your Z energy. An important thing to keep in mind out on, so focus on this. You can play them on top of each other. Because all of them evolve on a Zamasu cost 5. You can, and the EX evolve isn't, or Union Potara isn't limit 1. So you can, they roll Zamasus. So you can play the 5 cost twice. Like the same 5 cost twice. That would be, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool. You can play them very, very fast. Just one after the other and just like mill. If you want some additional milling, well, you can use Oceanus Floodgate, or you can use, and you're always using Oceanus as 4 copies. But if you want, you can run Black Smoke. Like, you can if you want to. I'm not running it personally. I think that you can do so much more with 5 energy. But if you want, you can do that. So yeah, as you can see, we have enough ways of milling like crazy. But why just stop at mill? We're in green, so we do hand destruction as well. So you play cells are destroying, you play the 5 cost Fuse Zamasu because there is a cute interaction with him, and of course you play the best overwhelm card in the game, Dark Temptation Tova, because hey, +5 and discard 1. So mixing hand destruction and mill creates a very powerful and hard to fight strategy. I haven't optimized it yet, so I'm fully in mill territory at the moment, but there is room for hand destruction as well. There is also a very neat, very stupid combo that you can do. You can play Assault. Assault basically says that it restands a 5 cost Zamasu, and whenever he deals damage, you restand him again. And you play Assault and Fused Zamasu Deity's Rat. Fused Zamasu Deity's Rat will not trigger mill, but whenever he attacks, your opponent discards 1. So, you just keep swinging with him in a world where you can just continue to do damage. Your opponent constantly needs to discard 1 card from hand. So it's cute. Try to have fun with it. It's not the best combo, but it is cute and you can pull it off in this deck. The last thing that you can do with this deck is you can mix multicolor into it. There is an argument to go green-yellow. You have your check lands, which are just multicolor lands that you play for free. They ignore energy exhaust if your leader is Zamasu. And if you're playing the longer game, you have access to Flying Nimbus, which will help you out a lot. However, I'm moving further and further away from the idea of green-yellow. I feel like the engine is way too big to include green-yellow as well. But it is an option, it is worth experimenting because it gives you access to an additional floodgate. Okay guys, you know the drill. I am back with Deck Planet, the best deck builder in the world, and let's go over Zamasu. So, how they say in Fusion World. So, you run your 1-drops, of course. When it comes to these other ones, it's cool to put them like this. I think that ratios of 3 of each is good enough. What I found through testing is that usually you will just use one of your Zamasus to get one of these. I'm just moving stuff around so that it's aesthetically pleasing. To move one of these Gokus from under it to the drop, and then you can just Union again. So you don't need as many Goku Blacks. This one is cool because he creates a blocker token and you can play him during your opponent's turn. I like this one. Other than that, I think they're fine at 3 of. I don't think there's too much use for them though. I mean, they mill, so that's something. When it comes to Zamasus, so here's the thing. Here's what I have found. I'm running 51 cards because I'm struggling a bit with space. I found that you want to run as many of them as possible, because that's how you mill. Like, you need to run as many of them as you can. And I forced myself to take this one to 3, because he seems to be like one of the worst ones. Basically, you can put him to 2, but you want him at 3, because every time you play them, you trigger your leader's ability. And you mill from them as well. 4 copies of this 5 cost discard is amazing. I absolutely love this card. You draw 2, you mill, and then you combo with something from under this card. So you just combo with one of your Gokus, send it to the drop, fuse again. 4 copies of the SR and 4 copies of this guy. You must run 4 copies. I don't think that you can run any less. He mills free. He's the only one that mills free. So yeah. And he KOs something, and he can switch something into active mode, which is great. So you can switch your leader or something into active and then just draw again. He can switch himself. So the card is great. 4 copies of Hellas. Hellas is your super combo because she's searchable. When it comes to negates, 4 Dormants, 4 Oceanus. I think if you lower the amount of Oceanus, you're just begging to lose at that point. So I think you need to go for 4. 2 Homicidal Clones. So in theory, you can go with like 1 less of these guys and go with 1 more of Homicidal Clones. Charismatic, because we have a Unison. 3 copies of Solidarity, because barrier removal. And Cell Max. Originally I had a Shadow Dragon here. I've had success with Shadow Dragon. Like, he's not bad. But the problem is that I often feel like I can do so much more with that energy. Cell Max is only here as the SCR because when you play Bojack, you can kill it and you can burn your opponent for the last damage. So yeah, that is the deck list. It's time to check out your turns 1 and 2. So let's take a look at the gameplay. So your first couple of turns are pretty standard, but we'll just go over the first 2 just to get you started. As always, we're assuming that you're using the provided deck list and that you're going first. Okay, let's see what Zamasu can do. Turn 1, the usual setup. This is your standard turn 1, there's not much to do here. You start, you charge 1, pay 1, play the Zamasu, draw, and then just pass the turn. You don't use the activate main because you want your Zamasu on field for turn 2 to be able to to awaken and, well, not to awaken, to play the fusion basically. Don't forget to Z-charge a Goku Black card from hand. That's the big deal. You need a Goku Black in your hand which you will Z-charge on your next turn. I mean, before your next turn. Turn 2, it's time to awaken. Okay, so we start charge 1, draw 1. Now we pay 1 and 1 Z energy. We send the Goku Black to the drop to play the Unison. It's time to attack. We attack with our leader. We tutor the top 5. We grab our super combo, for example. Now we awaken. We restand 1, draw 1, go down to 6. Attack resolves. Then we pay 1 to play the 5 cost. So we use the Zamasu on the field and Goku Black in the drop. We draw 1, mill 1. Then our leader's auto triggers, so we mill another 1. And now it's time to attack. We attack with the Zamasu, we draw 1, and now we get to combo with the Goku Black from under this Zamasu. So you combo with Goku. Goku goes to the drop. Attack resolves, and then you pay 1 to play another Zamasu on top of the previous Zamasu. I'm just showcasing you that you can do that. You draw 1, you mill 1, your auto triggers, you mill 1 again, and then it's time to attack. You swing, you attack, you draw 1, you combo with the Goku again, just send him back to the drop, and then you pass the turn. Before we end the video, let's quickly jump into the summary. Zamasu is the best mill deck in the game. It's the best mill deck in the game. You can mill an absurd amount of cards per turn, and your mill doesn't depend on the opponent. That's the big one. For the majority of other mill decks, they either depend on your opponent, such as a Cooler Mill, or they depend on a very specific card, a very specific type of cards, such as Sinzino, and then his archetype is Colossal, or they just depend on you not doing anything and hoping to not die, such as Janemba. Zamasu doesn't depend on anything your opponent does. You just play the game and you mill them. Stacking the same Zamasus is hilarious. It's awesome that you can do this. Access to Dormant and Oceanus gives us some really good defense. I wouldn't mind an extra floodgate though. And it's a super fun mill deck. It's very competitive, it's super fun, and I suggest you give it a go. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Will you try out this deck? Have you already tried out this deck? Do you plan on taking it to nets and stuff? Let me know, what do you think of Zamasu. I read all of your comments, I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And while you're here, hit those like and subscribe buttons, help us get to 6k subs when I'm gonna give away a booster box. This has been Damien from the Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.